way that the camera, for one, let me just hit on this really quick. The UI, it looks really good. The whole game, the environment, the kind of whole theme and vibe, it looks really cool. The tanks, I think these are called the dreadnoughts. They're effectively, if you take Command and Conquer's Red Alert, tanks like that theme, and you kind of throw it into a blender with the StarCraft Terran tank. I forgot what it's called. Anyway, it can go into artillery mode or also go into where it can be mobile. That's what these tanks do. And they kind of, the developer Dimon, he essentially took what I love about Red Alert, the Command and Conquer Red Alert Russian faction, their tanks, and that he kind of took that idea and just kind of dialed it up to 11 here. I mean, these are effectively battleship cannons that we're looking at here on a tank. And I'm not going to nerd out on this. Most people watching this video aren't game developers or even modders for that matter. And so they don't really care probably too much what's happening under the hood. Some of you do, obviously I do. I could nerd out on this all day. You're talking about one guy that's been developing this game for a while, and it's massively impressive under the hood. What we're seeing right now is impressive. There's just the tank going over the terrain here. It looks very cool. It's very well done. There's 3 different factions. So you have this, you've got this kind of alien looking faction, and it looks totally awesome. This is basically kind of like the Zerg faction, and it looks really cool. They have a big unit here. The animations on this whole game, by the way, is highly impressive. I could really nerd out on all that all day, but this bomber is so fucking cool. I will point out the Empire, which is what we're looking at here. They are the only playable faction, but there's 3 different factions. You have the Rebels. We'll see at least 1 Rebel unit. So far, we've only seen 1 Rebel unit. It's like this really cool looking truck. We'll see that in a second. And then you have this high-tech robot faction, which is really cool. It looks really neat, and all mixed together, I think it's a really cool theme because on one end you have this Empire faction that we're looking at here, and they're very ballistic based. You have this awesome bomber and the tank. The tanks are amazing. These T348s. You have this really cool structure here. This is something cool I'll go ahead and hit on real quick. This structure, this artillery, this massive artillery building here, it actually functions in game, but in the overworld map, it also functions there as well. And again, if you've played Total War games, Total War Warhammer, you have a turn-based overworld map, and this game has that and something similar. And you can effectively, you can drop nukes and stuff like that, or every faction has like a super weapon from what I understand. We're about to see this faction's super weapon, which is very fitting. It's this badass nuke. And yeah, this artillery shell, I love that it actually functions in the overworld part of the gameplay, but also like in game here. And this is the robot faction, which is really cool. It is a entirely robot-based faction, and looks pretty neat. And then we have the Empire faction. So it's kind of like the control. Units are very similar to Company of Heroes and or Total War games, where if I click right here on this soldier, it would probably select a group of 12 or 8 of them or however many, but they're squads. So you're not selecting individual units. I personally am a huge fan of that. I love that Dimon, the developer, went that direction. I'd like to just go ahead and hit on something else. This is a tank that has been destroyed, and it leaves behind this really cool, debris. And this game is so impressive tech-wise. Like the damage that is being done to the environment, Again, yeah, the tanks and units, heavy tanks, they leave like a husk behind. Like actually, you're gonna see that here, I think, when this gets destroyed, possibly. Oh, never mind. So yeah, this robot faction looks pretty cool, but the freaking like alien Zerg type faction is just totally sick. It looks so cool. They're not playable. Keep in mind, this game has only been being made by one person, literally one developer. So for when at launch, there's only going to be one playable faction. But yeah, this faction looks really cool. Also, just like if you follow like Dwarf RTS, which is the only other RTS I personally am looking forward to other than Dustfront. Dustfront is my most anticipated RTS by a mile. I mean, and it's an indie game being made by one guy, which is interesting. I wanted to point this out though. The tank here, as you can see, it's firing cannons in front of them, and then on the side, it's also firing flamethrowers and stuff. So units can fire in multiple directions and whatnot, with different weapon systems and stuff, just like in a game like Dwarf RTS, which is really cool. The faction is just, the aesthetic is really cool. This very like Russian kind of Red Alert kind of theme, and we're about to see the Overworld gameplay here. You've got some stuff here. This is in Russian. The developer is Russian, and so I'm sure this will all be, it is coming out on Steam. It will be in English. I'm sure that this will all be in English eventually. So here's part of the Overworld map here. You can kind of see some stuff going on here, like resources, and the UI looks pretty good. So you kind of have a turn-based overworld map, and this is where you can do different things like build units and whatever. I mean, a lot of what I would say right now would be guesswork or just assumptions. God, I just love this. The building, this is a really cool shot. This is one of my favorite parts of the trailer. You can see the rebel vehicles here. They look really cool. Again, there's 3 factions. You have the Empire Rebels and the Robot faction. This is the only rebel unit we've seen, but I would highly assume, and if it's not obvious, that Demon's been mostly focused with developing the Empire faction, which looks amazing. Again, I can't get over the Dreadnought tank, the multiple tracks, the just massive battleship esque artillery cannon it has. It's like the Terran tank in StarCraft if thrown in a blender with like something from Command and Conquer Red Alert. The husk of the tank here, this is a tank that was destroyed, and it left behind this husk here. Visually, the game is stunning. Far as, again, this is stuff that some people just don't care about, and that's fair. But like the actual coding, this trailer is highly impressive. The developer Demon, he's clearly he's clearly a skilled programmer. There's just a lot of cool stuff that this trailer shows that's happening under the hood. The animation work is very well done. There's no tack, right? Like that's the thing. There's nothing tacky about it. It's it's like the developers really put time and passion into this. You can just see that. But yeah, the environment is awesome. I wanted to point out the camera angle is really well done. Part of me hopes that it's a fixed camera. I have no issues with if the camera is always like this in game. Personally, I think it's a good camera angle. But I'm sure you can adjust the camera a little bit. Like this is almost, but like I love how this just shows the entire battlefield in front of you here. You have the fire effects look good. You have the Dreadnought tank in a fixed artillery position here, firing off its badass cannons. And as it fires, it also drops a shell out of the back of it. That's really cool. These are really neat anti-air missiles. Yeah, and then you also have these little tanks as well that are neat. The yeah, the robot faction's really cool. Stuff like this is just really impressive because the whole game it just goes back to the fact that it's being developed by just one person, and it is only going to be single player only, which I'm personally fine with. I don't really play RTS games multiplayer anymore. I play Total War Warhammer 3 campaigns here and there, but yeah, I'm not really a multiplayer RTS gamer anymore. But because this part, this is obviously, the Empire's super weapon. This nuke, just really really cool. But yeah, the biggest thing is just their dreadnought tanks are just so awesome to me. I love a Russian themed faction, especially in an RTS game like Red Alert, that mostly sticks with ballistic technology, and obviously the robot faction is the high tech faction, but yeah, and yeah, I'm really excited for this. There's things that we just don't know about yet, and like for example, I can't even begin to speculate on when this is going to release. It could be a year from now. It could be 2 years from now. I have no idea. But yeah, it's going to be. This is my most anticipated RTS game for sure. And I'm not a content creator. I don't do YouTube, but so if I do make a YouTube video about a game that I'm excited about, it's because I'm genuinely excited. So, all right, that's it.